Jai Gopi Jana Ballabha Girivardhari Yasodanandana Bhajanandana Yamuratira Manchari Jaya Radha Madhava Sundari Jaya Radha Madhava Sundari Paramesvara Varajikacharya Ashtosa Tashishi Srimad A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Sankirtan Yoga Ki Jai. All glories to the Son of the Buddhas. Gola Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Continued readings from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 25, titled The Characteristics of King Paranjana. Text 54. Andav Amisham Puranam.
Andav Amisham Puranam.
Nirvat Peshas Kritav Avo.
Nirvat Peshas Kritav Avo.
Akshanvatam Adipatis.
Akshanvatam Adipatis.
Tavyam Yati Karoti Cha.
Tavyam Yati Karoti Cha.
Andavamisham Puranam.
Andavamisham Puranam.
Nirvat Peshas Kritav Ivo.
Nirvat Peshas Kritav Avo.
Akshanvatam Adipatis.
Akshanvatam Adipatis.
Tavyam Yati Karoti Cha.
Tavyam Yati Karoti Cha.
Andavamisham Puranam.
Andavamisham Puranam.
Nirvat Peshas Kritav Ivo.
Nirvat Peshas Kritav Avo.
Akshanvatam Adipatis.
Akshanvatam Adipatis.
Tavyam Yati Karoti Cha.
Tavyam Yati Karoti Cha. Andavamisham Puranam.
Andavamisham Puranam.
Nirvat Peshas Kritav Avo.
Nirvat Peshas Kritav Avo.
Akshanvatam Adipatis. Tavyam Yati Karoti Cha.
Andavamisham Puranam.
Andavamisham Puranam.
Nirvat Peshas Kritav Avo.
Nirvat Peshas Kritav Avo.
Akshanvatam Adipatis.
Akshanvatam Adipatis.
Tavyam Yati Karoti Cha.
Tavyam Yati Karoti Cha.
Andau, blind, Amisham, among those, Puranam, of the inhabitants, Nirvak, of the name Nirvak, Prasaskritao of the name Pasashkrit, Ubao, both of them, Akshanvatam, of the people who possessed eyes, Adipati, ruler, Tabyam, with both of them, Yati, used to go, Karoti, used to act, Cha, and translation of Sri Prabhupada. Of the many inhabitants of the city, there are two persons named Nirvak and Peshashkrit. Although King Paranjana was the ruler of citizens who possessed eyes, he unfortunately used to associate with these blind men. Accompanied by them, he used to go here and there and perform various activities. Please repeat if you wish. Of the many inhabitants of the city, there are two persons named Nirvak and Peshashkrit. Although King Paranjana was the ruler of citizens who possessed eyes, he unfortunately used to associate with these blind men. Accompanied by them, he used to go here and there and perform various activities. Report by Sri Prabhupada ki. This is a reference to the arms and legs of the living entity. The two legs do not speak, and they are blind. If a person simply trusts his legs to take him walking, he is likely to fall into a hole or bump into something. Thus, led by the blind eyes, one's life may be placed in jeopardy. Of the senses that are working, the hands and legs are very important, but they have no eyes to see. This means that in the hands and legs, there are no holes. In the head, there are many holes, 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, and 1 mouth. But lower down in the arms and legs, there are no holes. Consequently, the arms and legs have been described as anda, blind. Although the living entity has many holes in his body, he nonetheless has to work with his hands and arms. Although the living entity is the master of many other senses, when he has to go somewhere, do something, or touch something, he has to use his blind legs and hands. Om Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Svabhavantikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Of the many inhabitants of the city, there are 2 persons named Nirvak and Peshashkrit. Although King Paranjana was the ruler of citizens who possessed eyes, he unfortunately used to associate with these blind men. Accompanied by them, he used to go here and there and perform various activities. So yeah, the Bible says man is made in the image of God, So Krishna has hands and legs. So the man, women, they have hands and legs. And, we take this, going through this city, at least when I first got out of it was, well, I never even considered that even, the city, the body has hands and legs. Okay, well, duh, but it's kind of a neat statement because, to take it for granted. I'm at Mount Rushmore and lots of families come by, and every now and then you hear a kid screaming away. Oh, not every now and then, often. And there's some kid's walking away and just falls down, right? You know, he just is not used to using those hands and legs so well. So, you know, our bodies could be different too, you know. We could not have hands and legs. We could have like a worm body and kind of slither into the morning program and roll around instead of dancing and that kind of thing. So lots of options, you know. You have to distribute books through your mouth. You know, people receive it with their mouth. And then it'd be weird. So hands and legs are really cool. Can do a lot of things with them. And but it's good to note that these limbs, as it's pointed out in the purport, they don't have eyes. They're considered blind. In fact, it's simply dead matter. Dead matter. And you know, what's the difference between a dead body and a live body? It's consciousness. The consciousness is a symptom of that there's a soul there. So dead bodies and live bodies, two different things. Just like in the universal form, when all the elements were there and they tried to make the universal form stir, they tried all different ways, but nothing happened until the super soul enters consciousness, gets things going. So with a consciousness, we can do things with these hands and limbs. It's good to note that, you know, it is dead matter. Prabhupada made the comment, what's a wife? A wife is a dead body that flaps around for a few years. It's an interesting statement. Dealing with the body, it's just a body. You know, the soul is a soul. That's what matters in your body. But yeah, it's this dead matter. And the best we can do with this dead matter is it's described, you know, a hot iron rod, not hot. It's just dull, and it goes into fire for a while. Then it becomes like fire. You can light things with that because it becomes red hot. So the best we can do with this dead matter body is engage it in Krishna's service and spiritualize it. Then it can act as spirit in a sense, and that way we can function. Nice verse here. What is it? Yeah, Srimad Bhagavatam. So here's a statement. One who has not listened to the messages about the prowess and marvelous acts of the personality of Godhead, and has not sung or chanted loudly the worthy songs about the Lord, is to be considered to possess ear holes like the holes of snakes and a tongue like the tongue of a frog. The upper portion of the body, though crowned with a silk turban, is only a heavy burden if not bowed down before the personality of Godhead, who can award mukti, freedom. And the hands, though decorated with glittering bangles, are like those of a dead man if not engaged in the service of the personality of Godhead, Hari. And so this is, okay, never mind. So there we go. You want to use it in Krishna's service, then it becomes spiritualized. Just like Sad Goswami Astaka Sankipur Vidnam Dimudi Samvat Tavikram Nidrahar Bakar Vijyam Tadam Radha Krishna Ganasmata Mandamama Nandanas Manto Vande Rupas Natno Yoshiji Banko. 6 Goswamis are a wonderful example of applying this. This is the proper use of intelligence, using everything that we have in Krishna's service, and that way we become spiritualized. So that verse goes as follows. 6 Goswamis were always chanting the holy names of the Lord and bowing down the scheduled measurement. In this way, they utilized their valuable lives, and in executing these devotional activities, they conquered over eating and sleeping, and were always meek and humble, enchanted by remembering the transcendental qualities of the Lord. So they're enchanted by remembering transcendental qualities of the Lord. How are they enchanted? They're seeing their Krishna's reciprocating with them as they're serving Krishna, and they're enchanted. So instead of enchanted by the illusory energy with this dead matter called the wife that is a dead body that flaps around for a few years, Prabhupada said, we can become enchanted by the transcendental quality of the Lord, Sri Krishna. So it's not a dig on the ladies. It's just, men have a, very heavy conditioning. So it's just, ladies are wonderful. Men are wonderful. They're equally wonderful. But to just hit the conditioning. And I guess the ladies have the same conditioning, right? Stated that Rukmini was sharing what a husband is, Same kind of thing. It's this disgusting bag of pile blood and stool that smells, and it's like, but that's our conditioning to be attracted to that. So Prabhupada makes a heavy statement to break free of our conditioning and get a higher taste. So there's a difference between our limbs and Krishna's limbs, right? Our limbs, they can't see, but what do we chant every morning? Govindam Adipurusham Tamam Bhajami Anganiyasya Sakarandriya Vritimati Pasyanti Panti Kayanti Chiram Jaganti Ananda Chimaya Sadhu Jvara Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamam Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose transcendental form is full of bliss, truth, substantiality, and is thus full of the most dazzling splendor. Each of the limbs of that transcendental figure possesses in himself the full-fledged functions of all the organs, and eternally sees, maintains, and manifests the infinite universes, both spiritual and mundane. So Krishna can see with his elbow. He can do all kinds of things. He can do anything with any of his parts of his body, right? So there's a difference between Krishna and just by knowing, like Bhagavad Gita 4.9, what is it? Jama karma chame divyam evam yaveti tatvata chakradeham punarjanma naiti mamati. So Arjuna, one who knows the transcendental nature, Krishna is saying, one who knows the transcendental nature, my appearance and activities does not upon leaving the body take its birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode. So by knowing this, understanding the difference between Krishna and us, the difference between spirit, matter, and the controller of both, knowledge and understanding, applying it and getting realization of Krishna, we realize that Krishna is completely different from our mundane conditioned state. Right? And the Bhagavad Gita says that we are, everybody in the spiritual world is infallible. Krishna is infallible. And everybody in the material world, the conditioned souls are fallible. So, because the body is not going to work out. That's a whole other difference between our body and Krishna's body. Krishna can will anything, and it will always happen. Whereas you can desire something with your body, like I would like to fly over to my sister's and drop these boxes off, because driving spends money, but it's not going to do that. Or you might even just be trying to do something, especially when you're doing non-devotional service and nothing seems to work out. You ever had that experience? There's a story of a guy, this just happened recently. He, Bitcoin, if you lose your password, you can't get your Bitcoin money. And, well, this gentleman, he made a mistake. The limbs were used improperly. He's kind of spaced out. And he put his new computer in the trash and not the old computer. They wanted to throw away. So guess how much money was on that Bitcoin? $750 million. Yeah, he bought it when it was real new and cheap. And he begged the judge, can I dig up that landfill and find that? And they go, no, sorry, tough luck, buddy. So this is a sample of, our bodies might not work just the way we want them to. But on the other hand, we can be lame. The lame man can climb mountains. And the blind can see and all that stuff just by remembering Lord Chaitanya. So by engaging in Lord Chaitanya's service, it's amazing things can happen. Prabhupada says, hey, you just plug in and the magic happens, but don't think the magic is you. It's Lord Chaitanya's doing it. You know, just like that donkey, insignificant donkey, you know, on the side of the road, waiting for its next huge loads, and the Rath Yatra cart, they I don't know, the elephant was sick or something to carry it, to pull it. So they had to find something. So they took this donkey, and the donkey's pulling the Rath Yatra cart, and he's getting all these flowers being thrown. He's thinking it's being thrown, some of it's thrown on him. Everybody's bowing down, and he's going, wow, I'm pretty darn awesome, right? And, you know, this is, wow, everybody's worshiping me. I'm getting flowers thrown on me and stuff like that. Everybody's chanting away, wow, I'm so great. And then after the Rath Yatra cart's done, he unties the donkey and puts him back in its pen or whatever. And he's going, what happened? You know, I was a big shot. I'm great, right? But then everybody's just, you know, giving the heavy loads, beating him when he's not doing it just right. That sounds mean, but yeah. So that the point is, Krishna is doing the magic, and we can engage in bhakti yoga and plug in to Krishna's service. And all of a sudden, things are working miraculously. A nice example of this is Brigapati Prabhu. We're about to start the Warp Tour. He's probably 64. He's questioning whether he should do it or not because he's pretty old. When I was 35, I thought, I don't know if I'll be able to live through the whole thing. So let me see if I can make it a week. Brigapati wants to do the whole thing. Prabhu wants to do the whole thing. So he flies out to Dallas. First show, it's over 100 degrees. And we're talking 7 of us in that van out there. Show after show after show. No break in first 55 days. No break at all. Driving 6 hours to the next show. Just everything, just hitting the pavement, distributing books like anything. You know, wild kirtan morning programs, my God, because everybody's just really fired up. And so then he flies into Dallas, and then he staying at the Dallas temple, and he hurts his back. His back goes out, and literally he's in terrible pain. I know what happens when my back goes out. I'm like paralyzed for a while. He's crawling on his hands and knees to go to the bathroom, you know, in pain. That was the first day. Then that night, there's bed bugs there. No offense to the Dallas temple, I'm sure they took care of him, but there were bed bugs. He had at least, no joke, 1,000 bites all over his body. He was like spotted everywhere. And his back's out, he can't move, and he's in excruciating pain from all these itches and bites. And the show's the next morning, I'm like, Prabhu, you know, I gotta go, you know, I mean, we got 5 other guys here, we gotta go and do it, you know, maybe somebody can take care of you, and in a week you can fly out and be better, you know. He's like, well, let me see if I can do it tomorrow. I'm like, Prabhu, come on. So next morning, he's like, I think I can do it. So help him in the van or whatever. And that day, when he was literally the day before barely crawling to go to the bathroom, he distributed 11 or 13 cases, I can't remember, cases of books. At least 11 cases of books. And he ain't gonna let them out for free. You got donations for them. Oh, we were just like, this is impossible. This is impossible. It's just like that, you know, I don't know if you've seen that stick figure balloon thing that they use it for advertising. It kind of goes like this. They put the hot air in it, plug it in, and it goes. It looks like it's going to fall over any second, right? I'm sure your Santa doesn't do that, but you know, if you unplug that Santa, you know, so you plug it in, it goes. Oh, you know, so that's how plugging into Christian service works. I back then I used to buy vans regularly because we were expanding and everything, vans break or whatever. And I'm really, really frugal with my funds, and I really use every cent. Like I felt horrible for not bringing water to Nogales when I first joined. I had to spend 50 cents on the water. And I tried to go all day, but I was almost going to die. So buying a van, I look really hard and find the cheapest ones and the best ones. Takes me usually about a month. And I go scour all the websites and the Craigslist and everything. And after 2 months, I couldn't find a decent deal on one. And I remember working on Mother Tsunami's computer over there looking for it, and just, okay. And then I just went, Krishna, I give up, I can't get, I'm not going to pay that much. I give up. And this is a true story, guaranteed. And then all of a sudden, I remember my hands just like going like to the keyboard. Like it's just like going, like, I give up, Krishna. And all of a sudden, my hand just drops on the keyboard. And all of a sudden, boom, no joke, a Sprinter van that's almost new, 3,000 miles, just a little bit of ways away, is asking only 29,000 for it or something, 30,000, which is phenomenal deal, phenomenal. And I'm like, what the heck? And then I remember researching it and going, this is legit. And I remember backing up a little bit, but then couldn't, lost the screen and I couldn't get back to it. And so I'm trying every little tweak that you can with that website or whatever. And I had to tweak it some really strange way in order for it to come up. I redid it somehow, luckily, Krishna's mercy. And so when I call them, I'm like, yeah, I'm interested in your Sprinter van. Is it still for sale? Oh, yeah, we haven't gotten any calls on that. The advertising, he's paid this money for that, but it wigged out. It didn't load properly or something. You had to really tweak it to get it to come up. So I lowballed him, and he dropped it down further even. And it had everything that I wanted. It was just like a magical thing. So this is a sample of what happens when we take to Krishna's service. Magical things happen. So it's good to remember Bhagavad Gita. It states 18:14, 13. Almighty Armed Arjuna, according to the Vedanta, there are 5 causes for the accomplishment of all action. Now learn of these from me. The place of action, the body, the performer, the various senses, the many different kinds of endeavor, and ultimately the supersoul. These are the 5 factors of action. Whatever wrong action a man performs by body, mind, or speech is caused by these 5 factors. Therefore, one who thinks himself the only doer, not considering the 5 factors, is certainly not very intelligent and cannot see things as they are. So that 5th factor, the supersoul, the ultimate determining factor, we should remember. It's like my dad, I was just had a low point in my life, and he said, I was scared to start up again. I didn't read the Bhagavad Gita yet. I didn't know how to act, but the way I was acting before, I got smashed. And then when my dad saw me like down and out, he says, you're forgetting something. You're forgetting the grace of God. The ultimate determining factor, Krishna. It says in the Bhagavad Gita, Prakriti kriyamana niguna kamani sarvisaha ankara Prakriti kriyamana niguna kamani sarvisaha ankara muratma kartamanti manite. The spirit soul, bewildered by the influence of false ego, thinks himself the doer of activities that are actually carried out with material nature. Now, this is for the soul that's not surrendered to Krishna. But then, when we surrender to Krishna, Krishna personally arranges everything in your life. So, magical things. So many disciples of Prabhupada, so many people just plugging in, and many disciples of Prabhupada just getting the nectar and seeing the body and the mind and everything working fabulously and doing fabulous things. So it is, so in summary, our bodies, our material bodies are different from Krishna's body, and we are fallible, he is infallible. So therefore, we are 100% dependent on him for our success. And that's the difference between an advanced soul and a neophyte. The neophyte thinks he's the doer, thinks he's the cause of all causes, whereas the advanced soul is thinking constantly, constantly dependent on Krishna, constantly, always 100% dependent on Krishna to have anything happen at any moment, recognizing Krishna as the cause of all causes. So I'd like to take a little moment out and describe we have Jayadev Prabhu or Goswami. He is, it's his disappearance day today. So I'd like to share some of his glories. That's all right. And we'll have a quiz for you all. Okay, let's see if you can do this. Anybody remember the Das Avatar Stotram? That comes from Jayadev Goswami. And let's see how well you guys do this. In fact, one mistake and no prasad and breakfast for you all. Okay, so you got to guess the avatar. O Kesava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, you have assumed the form of a blank. You easily acted as a boat in the form of a giant blank just to give protection to the Vedas, which had become immersed in the turbulent sea of devastation. Who's that? Matsya. Matsya Sarira, Jai Jagadisha Hare. Okay, next one. You have assumed the form of a blank. In this incarnation as a divine blank, the great Mandara mountain rests upon your gigantic back as a pivot for churning the ocean of milk. From holding up the huge mountain, a large scar-like depression is put on your back, which has become most glorious. Who's that? Kurva Sharira Jai Jagadisha Hare. Okay. You have assumed the form of a blank. The earth, which had become immersed in the Garbhodaka ocean at the bottom of the universe, sits fixed upon the tip of your tusk like a spot upon the moon. Ra Sharira Jai Jagadisha Hare. Just as one could easily crush a wasp between one's fingernails, so in the same way, this certain person's body, the wasp-like demon, has been ripped apart by the beautiful pointed nails of your beautiful lotus hands. Okay, I got 6 more. Oh, wonderful dwarf, by your massive steps you deceive King Bali, and by the Ganges water that is emanated from the nails of your lotus feet, you deliver all living beings within this world. You bathe the earth. Okay, this is a challenge. You bathe your earth in the rivers of blood from the bodies of the demoniac Kshatriyas that you have slain. The sins of the world was washed away by you, and because of you, people are relieved from the blazing fire of material existence. You get 2 chances in this one. Maybe you get 3 chances. No, somebody else. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, you're right. Sorry, I can't have breakfast. I was thinking it was a different one, similar. Sorry, yeah. Okay, I got to fast this morning. Bummer. Never mind. Oh Lord, Hari, you have assumed the form of blank. In the battle of Lanka, you destroyed the 10-headed demon Ravana. And distribute his heads as a delightful offering to the presiding deities of the 10 directions headed by Indra. This action was long desired by all of them who were much harassed by this monster. Rama, Sharira, Jai Jagadisha Hare. You assume the form of blank. Okay, this is the challenging one. The wielder, it's not that challenging. The wielder of the plow. All glories to you. On your brilliant white body, you wear garments the color of a fresh blue rain cloud. These garments are colored like the beautiful dark hue of the river Yamuna, who feels great fear due to the striking of your plowshare. Okay, O blank of compassionate heart, you decry the slaughtering of poor animals performing according to the rules of Vedic sacrifice. Buddha Shri Jai Jagadisha Hare. And you appear like a comet and carry a terrifying sword for bringing about the annihilation of the wicked barbarian men at the end of the Kali Yuga. Kalki, you guys all get breakfast. I'm gonna break my rule and have breakfast anyway. Okay. Because I need it for my service. I'm just kidding. Okay. And then, so he wrote that. And also one other thing, I'll let you guess the name of it after I chant this mantra that we chant every morning. Shiradika Madhavayarapara Madhurya Lila Gunarupanana Pratikshana Shmarana Lolopasya Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam. The spiritual master is always eager to hear and chant about the unlimited conjugal pastimes of Radhika and Madhava, and their names, forms, in their names, forms, and pastimes. Yeah, the spiritual master is eager to relish these at every the qualities, names, and forms. The spiritual master is always eager to relish these at every moment. So, guess what else he did regarding this? Jayadev. What do you know? He wrote a book. Oh, okay. We'll learn from then what the book is called. What did I lose it? No, here we go. Yeah, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. So this is Lord Chaitanya. He would hear the songs of Chandidas and Vidyapati, quotations from Rai Ramananda's Jagannath Vallabha Nataka, Krishna Karnamrita, and Gita Govinda from the mouths of Svarup Damodar and Rai Ramananda. Thus he passed his days and nights singing and listening with great joy. So Lord Chaitanya is really suffering an incredible separation of Krishna in the mood of Radharani. And it's described at one point that those two kept him alive by chanting these glories that you'll find from this book, Jayadev Goswami and others. The Gita Govinda. So we have, so there's a nice, just because Gita Govinda is known for not being a dry philosophical text, it's one of those way up there books that one should not read it, and unless you're advanced. And here Jayadev Goswami gives a clarification of who should read it. If at all your heart yearns for that remembrance of Sri Hari which bestows all happiness, if you are hankering to contemplate upon Sri Hari with intense affection, and if you are overwhelmed with curiosity to know about Sri Hari's skill and his amorous pastimes, then by all means read this book. You may find his poetry very sweet and pleasing, but if you do not nurture these three desires, then this moving and lyrical literature is not for you. Only if your heart is full of intense eagerness to fathom Sri Hari's love dalliance will you be able to appreciate the mellifluous and inspiring poetry. So I remember being a new bhakta, and I went to Vrindavan, and I'm just got Prabhupada's books usually, but they had this bookstore, right? Tons of books. And I went, wow, I didn't know which one to choose. I was like, yeah. So I just asked the person at the stall, just give me the most advanced book. Give me the most advanced books. So I got like the super duper ones that you're not supposed to read until you're later in life in Krishna consciousness. I was a new bhakta. And I think this might have been one of them, book, and Gita Govinda, and one other one that's Krishna. That's super up there. And I started to read these, and about just a few pages in, I'm like, oh my God. Vrindavan, everything's intensified too. I was just going, I don't know if I should be reading this. And then I kept reading, and I went, I can't read this anymore. I had to put it down. So then, So want to be careful reading these books. Want to not for new people. Krishnadas Kaviraj says here, the characteristics of worldly lust and transcendental love are completely different. If mundane lust is likened to iron, then spiritual love can be likened to gold. The desire to give satisfaction to one's own senses is called lust. However, the desire to satisfy the senses of Sri Krishna is called pure love, or Vishuddha Prema. The goal of lust is one's own enjoyment, whereas the purpose of this immensely powerful prema is simply to make Sri Krishna happy. So, yeah, you don't want to have mundane thoughts reading those books. And there's this nice pastime with Jayadeva Goswami as he was putting together the Gita Govinda. And here he is, wants to share the mood of Krishna, how he is always looking for that scent of pure Krishna prema from others. And he wants to share how Krishna is so moved by that, and this thought came into his heart to write. And you find of unmotivated prema, Krishna is always ready to fall at the feet of that person with a humble entreaty. Dehi para palavam udaram. Mercifully bestow upon me the soft petals of your lotus feet. So this is Krishna. He's about to write. He comes into his heart. That's how he writes. And here he gets a little bit of Ishvarya Bhav, thinking of awe and reverence. Oh, Krishna is going to fall at somebody's feet and beg, mercifully bestow upon me the soft petals of your lotus feet, when that person is experiencing unmotivated prema. He's like, I can't write that. And he's thinking, should I write it? No, I can't write that. And he's going back and forth like this, and he takes a break from his writing and goes to his wife, Padmavati, and says, I'm going to go for a bath in the river, and we'll have lunch together when I come back. So he goes, everybody heard this one or no? Oh, perfect. So he goes to take his bath, and all of a sudden comes in Jayadeva Goswami, Jayadev. And Padmavati's like, well, that was quick. Yeah. He's like, oh yeah, drying off, sits down for lunch, and she serves him lunch. She would always eat after him, I guess, or something like that. And he's honoring the meal and going, wow, this is super good. Oh, this is you're such a great guy. And Jayadeva Goswami never really praises her like that. So she's like, are you okay? I appreciate your flattering, but not used to this. Well, thank you. He says, oh, you're so amazing. And then Jayadev goes to his writing and writes something there. And then goes. And then Jayadeva Goswami comes back from his bath, and he's going, Padmavati's there eating prasadam, honoring prasadam. And he's like, Padmavati, why are you eating without me? I thought you've never done this before. And Padmavati's going, what's going on? And you lost your mind. You just had your meal. I just had my meal. I just got back from the game. I told you I'm going to bed, but then I'm going to come back and have prasadam. You just had your meal, she said. You just had your meal and you just wrote something. And Jayadeva Goswami's going, wait, what's going on? So he goes over to see what, quote unquote, he wrote. And he sees golden letters, the verse that he wanted to write from his heart, that Krishna falls at the feet, begs, what is this? So beautiful verse. Here we go, sorry. Dehi pada palavam udaram. Mercifully, Krishna says, Mercifully bestow upon me the soft petals of your lotus feet. That person with unmotivated prema. He goes to that person. So he sees them in golden letters written. He's going, oh my God, Krishna appeared as me, had lunch, and wrote them a verse. And he's flipping out. I mean, that's what happened. And then he goes, Padmahavati, Padmahavati, you don't realize how fortunate you are. You just fed Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then, so that was the pastime of Jayadeva Goswami. Because so Krishna appeared, he knew, wanted it, that verse to be written. And because of his Ishvara Bhav, he was hesitant. So Krishna himself wrote it. So that's a nice pastime, Jayadeva Goswami. So it's, put in maybe 5 more minutes. And just to give you a sample of this book, a mellow part of it, don't worry. Okay, so just to show you that the what is it called, Mangala Archanam, the invocation for trying to get the mercy of Krishna and the pure devotees. This is a verse from the invocation. O Bhagavan, we have surrendered at your lotus feet. May you confer auspiciousness by blessing us with the gift of Prema Bhakti. O Deva, O Hari, triumph unto you. So, I mean, it's not just a little invocation here. It goes for the juggler, Okay, please bestow us Prema Bhakti. So, and then this is one verse just to give you a sample of the book. And this is a chill part of it. In the spring, the lovesick Radhika, whose tender limbs were soft as Madhavi flowers, wandered far and wide in the woods searching for Krishna. Cupid tormented her mind with a fever of love, while her close friend lovingly spoke to her to heighten the mood. So that's the beginning part of the Gita Govind. So, yes, Lord Chaitanya, just tying this all together with a verse regarding the dead limbs, and they can't see. And we can use it in Krishna's service and become spiritualized. That's the best use of our time and energy. And Lord Chaitanya, playing the perfect example of a devotee of the Lord, he would constantly really apply that verse, Shri Radhika Madhava Para. And here, Gita Govind, and so many others, and stay in ecstasy this way, in the mood of separation, without, totally going off the deep end. He went off the deep end like a madman, but it was a good deep end. It wasn't a bad deep end. So, like the 6 Goswamis, they say, Radha Kunda, Dade Kalinda Danaya, Tere Javamsi Vade, Premo Madhavasara Seshadasa, Kristav Sada, Kayanta Chakara Hera Kanavara, Babavada, Vande Rupa Sanata Norigo, Shiji Balago. They didn't have the mood like, I became a devotee in 1983, and Sankirtan, I don't know. Well, let's just see what Krishna, bestows today. Nice prashadam. No, the 6 Goswamis were sometimes on the Radhakund Lake, sometimes on the bank of the moon, sometimes in Vamsi Vat. At these places, they appeared just like madmen in the full ecstasy of love of Krishna, exhibiting different transcendental symptoms in their bodies. They were always merged in the ecstasy of Krishna consciousness. And hey Radhe Radhadev Kechateha Nanasnokada Shigavardana Kap Purulikalinda Gosam Tavat Sabtavadure Karev Hevedo Vande Rupa Sanat Noigo Shiji Bukalako. 6 Goswamis are always chanting very loudly everywhere in Vrindavan, shouting, O Queen of Vrindavan, Radharani, O Lalita, O Son of Namaraj, where are you all now? Are you just on the hill of Govardhan? Or are you under trees in the bank of the moon? Where are you? These were the moods in executing Krishna consciousness. So this is the mood of the advanced Vaishnavas. Not, I got Krishna. I got pure love of God. But where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? Lord Chaitanya is stating here as follows. Love of Godhead, devoid of cheating propensities, is not possible within this material world. If there is such a love, there cannot be separation. For if there is separation, how can one live? Pure love for Krishna, just like gold from the Jamba River, does not exist in human society. If it existed, there could not be separation. If separation were there, one could not live. Thus speaking, the son of Srimati Sachi Mata recited another wonderful verse, and Ramananda Rai and Swarup Damodar heard this verse with rapt attention. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I feel shameful to disclose the activities of my heart. Nonetheless, I shall be done with all formalities and speak from my heart. Please hear. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, my dear friends, I have not the slightest tinge of love of Godhead within my heart. When you see me crying in separation, I'm just falsely exhibiting a demonstration of my great fortune. Indeed, not seeing the beautiful face of Krishna playing his flute, I continue to live my life like an insect without purpose. Actually, my love for Krishna is far, far away. Whatever I do is actually an exhibition of pseudo-love of Godhead. When you see me cry, I'm simply falsely demonstrating my great fortune. Please try to understand this beyond a doubt. Even though I do not see the moon-like face of Krishna as he plays on his flute, and although there is no possibility of my meeting him, still I take care of my own body. That is the way of lust. In this way I maintain my fly-like life. Love for Krishna is very pure, like the waters of the Ganges. That love is an ocean of nectar. That pure attachment to Krishna does not conceal any spot, which would appear just like a spot of ink on a white cloth. Unalloyed love of Krishna is like an ocean of happiness. If someone gets one drop of it, the whole world can drown in that drop. It is not befitting to express such love of Godhead, yet a madman must speak. But even though he speaks, no one believes him. In this way, Lord Chaitanya used to revel in ecstasy day after day and exhibit these ecstasies before Swarup and Ramananda Rai. Externally, there appeared severe tribulation as if he were suffering from poison effects, but internally, he was experiencing bliss. This is characteristic of transcendental love of Krishna. If one tastes such love of Godhead, you can compare it to hot sugarcane juice. When one chews hot sugarcane, his mouth burns, yet he cannot give it up. Similarly, if one has but a little love of Godhead, he can perceive its powerful effects. It can only be compared to poison and nectar mixed together. So I'll stop there. And thank you for tolerating me. Any comments or questions? Yes.
What's the historical time for Jayadev Goswami?
11th to 12th century, somewhere right around there.
Okay.
Mhm.
So he was...
Yeah, we was inspired from, because Madhurya Ras wasn't so popular then. I think it was Madhavendra Puri Prabhu who first started that concept. That was later. So, kind of unique. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Yeah. Well, my understanding is because I downloaded Gita Govinda,
Yeah.
and that's there in the beginning.
Oh, wow.
But let me double check on that. I'll do that right now. Well, I don't know if I can. I didn't.
So there's very formal parts of Gita Govinda, and there's very intimate parts, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a long introduction. I mean, invocation.
Uh-huh.
It's so beautiful, and then it gets right into it.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions? So by remembering these great souls, and these great souls are not ordinary beings. Can you imagine, let's say you have your service and space it out, and Krishna takes your service, comes down, starts washing the pots for you because you went into ecstasy or something. They're not ordinary people. And, what they have to share in their life and teachings, great acharyas, we can just meditate upon them, similar to meditating on Krishna, and be inspired to go for this Krishna prema. It's worth it. Whatever endeavors we do, whatever austerities we perform, it's always a win-win situation. There's no loss and diminution. So, thank you for tolerating me. You all deserve your breakfast. I'm going to somehow, I don't know, I'm going to lose face here by having all my prashadam also. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, go Premanand.